and welcome to the Ecotarium Storytime. My name's JoAnn, and I'm one of the educators here. I would like to share with you today a book called Bird Singing, Bird Winging, and it is written by Marilyn Singer and illustrated by Lucy Semple. We'd like to send a especially grateful thank you to Simon & Schuster, the publisher, for letting us read this book to you today. So here we go, Bird Singing, Bird Winging. Bird at sunrise singing, bird getting hungry, winging. Bird on a tree trunk, tapping. Bird at a flower, lapping. Bird in a barnyard, scratching. Bird by the river, catching. Bird in the grassland, walking. Bird in the playroom, talking. Bird in the ocean, diving. Bird on the ice, surviving. Bird in the air, playing. Bird in a zoo, displaying. Bird with 4 eggs, tending. Bird with 4 chicks, defending. Bird by a mudflat preening. Bird in a birdhouse, cleaning. Bird in late summer, waiting. Bird in the fall, migrating. Now we saw some really interesting birds in here, from the northern cardinal and the blue jay that we saw at the beginning, to even, and let's see, where did it go? A flamingo on a mudflat. So now all of these birds you might not see around here, but what I'd like to do is take a closer look at some of the birds that we have here at the Ecotarium that come out of our collection. So now let's take a closer look at some of the birds from our collection. Let's start off with this little red one right over here. Does anybody recognize this one? That's right, this is a cardinal. And cardinals are birds that you might see at your bird feeder. They eat mostly seeds. You can tell by that big, thick beak that would be a great beak for cracking open tough seeds. Now, in the back, we have a mallard. And a mallard is a duck. And if you look closely, or maybe not even that closely, you can see that the mallard's beak is a whole lot different from the cardinal's. This mallard is called a dabbler as far as feeding goes, and that means that he turns right upside down in the water and eats different plants and animals that are in the pond or the lake where he's swimming. He might also come up on land and waddle around and find some plants and little animals to eat there too. Lots of times they would eat fly larvae or other little creatures in the water, and then mostly on land as well. They're going to eat plants. Alrighty. Next, let's take a look at a more generalized eater. This is an American crow. And if you look at its beak, you can see that it is very different from the last two beaks that we looked at. The crow is a very generalized feeder, which means it eats just about anything it can find. Now, crows and their cousins ravens are very smart, and I bet if they found a food source, they'd probably keep going back again and again. Now to some of our bigger birds. This impressive specimen is a great gray owl. And if we take a closer look at its beak, we can see that it is quite sharp. And that's because this bird is a raptor. And more evidence that this bird is a raptor is right at its feet. So looking down here at our raptor's feet, we can see very sharp talons. And these talons are great at grabbing the food that raptors eat. In the case of the great gray owl, he's going to eat mostly pocket gophers, voles, lemmings, and other sorts of little animals like that. Now, here is this is our second owl today, and this one is a screech owl, and it's much smaller than the great gray owl. And again, being a raptor, this little guy is going to eat meat too. So if we get a close-up of his beak, you can see just how sharp it is. And then down to those talons, those very sharp feet. Again, great for grasping small animals. And this little owl, of course, is going to eat smaller animals than the great gray. Sometimes they even eat earthworms. One of the cool things about owls is that they fly silently. And that's because of how their wings are designed. Our last bird for today is this little one over here. This one is called an Acorn Woodpecker. And if we take a closer look at this beak, what do you think that beak might be good for? If you said pecking at trees, you're right. So one of the interesting things about the Acorn Woodpecker that I just learned today is that they actually make caches of acorns and other nuts in trees. So they'll drill into the tree with this very impressive little beak, and then they'll hide acorns and other nuts in there so that they have food for the winter. They also like to eat insects too. Well, I hope you enjoyed our perusal of our collection here, our little tour. Oh, wait a minute, what's that one? This is an example of an owl puppet, and you can download the instructions and print it off and make one yourself. You just need a paper bag. Well, again, I hope you enjoyed taking a look at some of the birds in our collection. And don't forget, keep looking up at the sky, look in trees, listen with your ears. There are all sorts of really wonderful birds out there that you can discover too. Have a great day.